Now what?
Please.
Now what, you piece of shit? Please. Now what?
You don't have to do this.
Shut the fuck up. You don't get to talk. You're a zero. You're a goddamn zero.
Please.
I generally liked it. I just wanted 2 points to note. First, I found the younger actors somewhat distracting because they were a little more exaggerated than I think I would typically expect. And a second point, just take it what you will, as a thing that I would like to see, is maybe instead of cutting away to the time, which pulled me away from the story, it just like in the corner there's like a basketball countdown or something like that, which goes along with the theme.
He has a great storyline. He has the art, but at the end it was a little bit confusing. But the why. We heard two pops. I don't know who. Maybe it was both of them shooting each other, or maybe just one person shot. And I would like something that would clarify the end, because it wasn't clear for me why that happened. Yes, you can see a kid with a weapon in schools, and it happens all the time, but you just don't shoot. You try to de-escalate, right? So I would like to see something to
Like what
for
happened in the
closure.
hallway?
At the end, yeah, what happened?
I kind of thought that if they placed the armed security in the school, which relates to all the school shootings,
Yeah, definitely.
and then she walks out of the gym, pop, because she got called,
Yeah.
I think shooter, I mean, they made 2 shots. I would like to see the kids at least play.
There. I think the message that they were getting across is how today, unlike when we were students, that teachers had power. Students are taking over power, and teachers are being subdued at gunpoint and otherwise by the other people coming into school. Whether the other girl that came into the bathroom was a student or not, she looked way older than the student. But teachers are being threatened by students. And that's happening in our school system today. I think that's the message that was trying to be brought across in this film.
It brings about a reality. And it's like these problems are happening in the school systems. And it didn't just start happening. It's been a lot of gang problems. The teacher, when the guns went off, the girl had no bullets in her gun, but she was a student in a school with a gun. And when the officer probably shot at her because she had the gun, she gave her some flack like she did everybody else. And she probably turned to something and she shot her a second time because she was already concerned about the teacher being threatened in the first place. So I think the message was given over for us to see a realistic reality of what is happening with the school system for our children and how we can better handle it. And the fact that the coach was willing to get involved was impressive.
Yeah.
That she cared enough, and there's still some teachers that really do care.
I really, really enjoyed the film. I think my feedback will be that it brought an intensity to the school environment that I don't really see in a lot of other films. Certainly some films do address it, but in general, it just brought a darkness to it and kind of a violence that doesn't really get seen. And I like how it was kind of wrapped up with the like kind of honoring school violence victims and gang violence victims at the end. It kind of delivered a poignant message, and not something that I see in a lot of school-based films.
First, like, so we can understand what happens and what happens at schools and everything. Like, there's a reason behind every action, and I feel like that girl, like the one that threatened the main character, and she was moved by hatred. Like, you could see in her, like, her texting and her actions, she was like hateful.
Yeah.
And that hatred is a destructive emotion. So wherever she goes, she'll bring that destruction with her. And at the end, it ended up in her own death. So love wins.
I really enjoyed it. It was my favorite out of 4. Specifically, the fear. It was really well played, great performance by a coach and the rest of people, and also kind of human inability to do something about something really scary that threatens your life, and it can happen not only at school anywhere.
For me, it was the whole play on the word shooter.
because the coach was a basketball. I mean, you had the coach, you had the basketball. And if you think back years ago, I'm sure it's probably the same now, but if you were part of that basketball team, part of that team, and you were the shooter, that's where the power was.
Yeah, definitely.
So now that whole thing has flipped, where the power is with a gun and not with your skill.
The last scene when the girl that got shot, she stated the word shooter, right? And then previously when she was pointing at the coach, she was asking the coach to define herself, right?
Yeah.
And she made the coach say I'm a 0. And so if I put those together, right, it's we're talking about identity.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, and I felt that young girl at that point, she was defining herself as the shooter.
Interesting. I didn't see
So
it like
for
that.
me,
That's really interesting.
I saw it as like this lack of identity that a lot of our youth and even a lot of adults, still struggle with, and how that impacts the way that we make choices.
My film was Shooter. I was just wondering if the shooter was sort of based on true events.
I grew up in Chicago, and I grew up on the South Side. And I grew up around gang violence. That said, I hadn't lived in Chicago for a very long time, but over the last few years, I kept hearing about so much gang violence. I mean, like 500-600 people were shot, several hundred had been killed. I mean, it was just incredible. There were more people that were dying in Chicago from gang violence than were dying in Afghanistan. So it's just shocking, and it was kind of personal to me in that, I wanted to kind of talk about the gang violence, and also, according to the DOJ, because I did research, with the Department of Justice, I went to a gang intervention organization, and I did a lot of research. I did research for about a year, and it was shocking to me that so many girls, 1 in 4 new gang members are girls. So it just shocked me, and I just felt like I needed to say something about what was going on, and also so much, gun violence. It's really shocking. And I felt as though, it was a way to talk about it, really maybe to scare the what out of kids, because nobody knew that the security guard didn't know that this girl's gun was empty. Yeah. And I read about, I think it was a month ago, in Wisconsin, a kid was shot, and they had an empty gun. So, and they were shot by an officer in the school. So this is real. So I just felt like I needed to talk about it, and that's my way of talking about it.
If you had to pick one thing that was the most challenging part of making your films, what?
Finding the talent. Finding young talent that could really act. That was the most challenging. And that's, because I was never an actor, but I've always been around actors, and I know a lot about acting. And a lot of people, especially in film school, most film students don't know what actors are, what they do. And I was determined to find really good actors, and I felt like I did that.
Did you guys have a time limit for your script and the entire film?
I was in production for 3 days, but I worked on this for a year, and this was actually a script from when I was in film school 15 years ago.